All right, listen, I implore you guys not to celebrate this news by taking off your shirts and leaving in the middle of this show, okay? I think you know where I'm headed. Kiwi, what's the deal with Antonio Brown and the Bucs? I mean, this is another episode of As the NFL World Turns. What's your take?
I mean, as far as being on TV and having to talk about sports, this is almost like the gift that keeps on giving, right? Like, there's so many different facets of it that keep coming out. Now, as being a former player and having known people who are now years removed from the game, it's kind of saddening. And you see what Tom Brady had said initially, which was that this is a time where we need to put our arms around him and maybe, kind of pray for him and give him extended empathy and leniency in this time. And then he flipped the script on Tom himself, and the story changed a little bit there. So in my opinion, you're never going to get the full truth. Mm-hmm. Full disclosure, I was first-round pick, drafted by the Giants, a first-class organization. They have done things outside of what they needed to do. Not every organization operates this way. So you cannot go in there and say, hey, yes, automatically we believe that they knew or they didn't know about his injury. But I can say personally, like I have an ankle injury from that first Super Bowl that I'm still dealing with. I'm on surgery number 5. Yeah. And you can go out there and you can do jumping jacks in the end zone, but you can't plant and change direction and do what you need to do. And the doctor he saw that he quoted, Dr. O'Malley, that was one of the doctors that I saw at HSS, and I do know that he is one of the best doctors in the country, especially when it comes to orthopedics and to that joint specifically. So it sounds legit. It sounds like he's saying the right things. There very well possibly could have been a significant issue going into this game, but he wanted to go out there and he wanted to play, and then the circumstances were such that in the heat of the game, in the heat of the fire, coaches, and I'll say this, coaches don't always have in their mind who's actually hurt and who's not when they get to the sidelines. They might talk about it during the course of the week, but when you get to the sidelines, all they want to know is hey, who's up? Who's in this personnel grouping? Can you get on the field or not? And for him to say no, Bruce Arians may have been caught in a situation where he was just fed up because that's his reputation.
Yeah. Let's be honest, right? We're talking about, AB here, Antonio Brown, most prolific, but also in the last few years, because this is an issue that has been prevalent over the last 3 years. A lot of people are now starting to point to the hit that he took from Vontaze Burfict years ago in Cincinnati game, and where you start seeing really erratic behavior. And so when you're looking at these patterns, you already have someone who is a prima donna who fits the mold of that, and now their erratic decisions, it becomes a little bit of a chess match in regard to how much empathy you can extend and how you can do your job. And that makes it really difficult for somebody like a Bruce Arians in the heat of a moment where you have a decision to make on how you're going to get the next play run.
The problem I have is that regardless of whether it ends up being CTE or anything mental health issue related, that's not our business right now. But the rules of society still apply.
Absolutely.
Okay? And one of the main things I have a problem with is you don't screenshot people's text messages and put it on your Twitter or wherever else. That's a violation of the relationship that you should have between yourself and that person. So
it's become an interesting dynamic because what we're now seeing is the humanity of the athlete, because they're doing things that the general population is doing on every day, where certain privileges or certain norms of society, they don't really apply to us in light of the maturity that's certain. I have a little term that I call civil savage, where you have to be civil and you also have to be savage. You got to be able to put on both hats, and it's really meticulous.
People don't get that. They don't understand that. Like, people have told me for my entire life, people have said, you're such a different person on the field. I'm like, yeah, on the field in between those lines, people are coming to take your head off, like at all times. And so you learn at a young age to turn a switch. Somebody touches you on the field, you turn around, you hit them. That's what I was taught at a young age, and you don't ask any more questions.
I think I'll keep it short on AB. I think it's a communication thing. Even back to the chef, the cook, he doesn't communicate very well. If he couldn't go, and it was a big deal, communicate that to people, get that to BA, and then you could deal with it during the game, just like you were saying with communication. For the game, I had a hard time. Right now, Panthers are at the Bucs. The line's -8. I had a hard time finding a reason for the Bucs and why they would get up for this game. The 1 seed is locked up by Green Bay. They don't have to worry about that. They have a chance. They'll most likely be the 2 or the 3. They have a chance to get the 2. But a lot of other stuff needs to happen. So this is a divisional game. The Panthers might want to close out the season strong. Brady might want to get some rest for some guys. I just don't see them coming out at home and blowing the Panthers' doors off. This 8 number is a little high to me, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I have my concerns in light of the Carolina defense is legit. They're still, I believe, top 3, top 4 defense
especially
overall.
past D,
Right? So with AB down, and there's still a few weapons for Brady to work with, but 8 points, and in light of them, I don't think the Matt Rule damage is as big as everybody is making it in light of the instability at the quarterback position. Yeah. So I'm Carolina I'm going to take those points on Carolina.
I'm going Tampa Bay on this one just because there's so much instability. We talked about their defense. We never mentioned how difficult it is for them to field a full offense, and instability at the quarterback position is a really big deal. I know that the Bucs are going to come in. I know they're going to rest some guys. They rested some guys last week. But I still believe in Tampa Bay in terms of getting this win. Covering, we'll see, but I'm still on the Tampa Bay side.
Yeah.